Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mana on the Rocks. It is I, Joe. Joining me this week, as always, my wonderful co-host, Atlas.
Hello, everybody.
This week is the first major of the year, baby. You know it, you love it. It's tournament recap time. We cover the SEADH 4. It's 4? Return of the King, I think. Yeah, we cover the event that Laughing Dragon put up in Issaquah, Washington. Fantastic tournament, fantastic experience, and we had a lot of fun, kind of reminiscing about the first major events of the year. Almost as much fun as we will be reminiscing about these upcoming events. Atlas, what's on the docket?
We got two things coming up. First one is actually 2 days from this episode's air date. It is the OCCS Season 3, Volume 1. So the Gabby's Olympic Cards and Comics Olympic Commander Challenger Series. It's a mouthful, I know. But basically, it's our home shop's first major of the year. If you have the availability and you're in the area, you should 100% come out and play with us. It's a pretty easy entry fee at $35, 10 proxy limit, and then it's 4 rounds of Swiss with a cut to top 10. It's a great group of people, a lot of really good players a lot of them don't even leave the area that much. They don't play online or anything, so you get to play against a bunch of unique decks and very strong pilots that you might not get to experience otherwise. So
shop's one of a kind.
It pretty much is. So I would highly recommend coming out and joining our community for our first event of the year. And then, of course, the next one that's on my plate that I know of... Actually, there are two. There's one on March 8th. It is a Friday evening event at 6 p.m. at Defiant Fox Games in Tacoma. There's a small event. It's put on by the Sound Gaming Group. I believe this event is actually part of the Eminence Circuit too, so if you're looking for points, you might want to go play that. But it's a smaller event. They're looking to be able to appeal to people who might not be able to make the bigger Saturday things and whatnot. So check it out if you live close or if you're in the area and you want to give that one a go. But then the other event that I have is slightly bigger at a 128-player cap, the Cascade Clash, put on by Aegis Games. It's going to be up in Bellingham or Mount Vernon, Washington, and somewhere in that area. But if you go to the Aegis Games website, you'll be able to check out their events and find all the information there. You definitely want to register for this because while the registration fee is a little steeper than we might be used to in the area at $65, there is a cash pricing on the line that will scale with entry, but it prizes out through 12th, I believe. So 1st through 12th, there's cash pricing in addition to playing for a 30th anniversary edition Black Lotus. So that also is worth a chunk of change if you happen to take home the prize. So highly, highly recommend that you sign up for that event. It'll be a really, really great experience. Ton of dedicated and really talented players coming in.
Absolutely. We've been to Aegis Games a couple of times. Really great shop, really great community, really, really strong players up in that area.
Absolutely. Super looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. And then the only other thing is just once again, don't forget, I will be going to Punt City with a couple of our cohorts. And so we'll be representing the Pacific Northwest over at Punt City 3 in Pennsylvania here come April. So hopefully we'll have some merch or something by then. But check it out. Check us out. Find me if you're going to the event. We can chat about how much I hate Turbo or I want Brain Fuse banned or all of my weird hot takes. So
the classics, The classics. Well, speaking of the classics, we got to shout out this week's classic. Shout out to John. Appreciate you, buddy. You should come on down and get a drink with us.
Bro, just play good cards. You don't need to combo. You just kill people.
That's very true. I killed 2 people in what fucking game was it? I think it was my game 3. Yeah, it was my game 3. I straight up just knocked 2 people out with Blood Chief Ascension.
Jake was playing that card too, and it also did some work.
The card was goated this week, and I saw it seat 1, turn 1 twice, and both of those games, I won one of those games, and the second game I only lost because I lost a 1-in-3 gamble.
I lost a 1-in-3 gamble.
So, going into time, I ripped Snapcaster Mage after I tried to meme Betrayal and combo with Blood Chief Ascension. And that got force willed. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But I got into the state where it's heads up and my card quality is just substantially better than blue-red, whatever. Rip Snapcaster Mage off the top. I start counting my mana. I'm like, Oh shit! I can actually breach here if I land the gamble because the Izzet player has a gamble in the graveyard. I Snapcaster for Meme Betrayal the graveyard, go to cast gamble, and I'm like, I have 2 other cards in hand. I'm like, well, if I snipe the breach, that's a draw. If I don't, that's a win. And I snipe the breach.
Damn, that's tough. You have to like cast a brainstorm or something first. You draw cards.
Yeah, I really should have.
Be like, hey, hear me out. If I cast this Mystic Remora, how about you cast 4 spells into it, and then I'll cast a Grail.
Yeah, I don't think I saw Fish like once this weekend.
Interesting. I saw Fish twice. I saw it in my round 3, and I saw it in my semis game. And turn 1 did both games. Round 3 didn't have it. Drew it on first turn. Said that's pretty okay. Land Fish pass, and then in the semis I went Land Fish Chrome Box pass, and then it stuck around for like 3 or 4 turns. But
nasty.
Yeah. Good Magic card. I was talking to somebody earlier today about how like I think that card in a lot of situations is better than Rhystic Study.
I think you can time it better than Rhystic Study. Yeah.
Yeah, like you throw it. I would much rather see a Mystic Remora on like turn 5 when people are getting ready to pop off than a Rhystic Study, because hell, they might pay for that Rhystic Study, but they ain't not paying for that Mystic Remora. That thing's drawing you cards. So.
Nope, no one feeds the fish at that. No, the fish gets fed at that point. The fish gets very, very fed.
I also love when people are like, guys, nobody feed the fish, and then somebody's like, well, I gotta feed it 1 time, and then everyone's like, okay. Yeah, it was really funny though, because like seat 1 went like land Ragavan pass, and I did land fish pass, and then everyone goes, oh guys, let's play it safe, let's fish pact. They're like, okay. Tivit goes land pass, just does nothing else.
Nice.
And then Alondo goes, well, I gotta feed it like 1 time. I think it was like, it might have been the next turn or something. I think it was Alondo. Maybe it was one of the other player. I don't remember. Somebody, I'm pretty sure it was Alondo though, which is really funny because it's a Simic deck. And they go, all right, well, I gotta feed it once so I can get my commander out. They feed it once. I was like, well, all right. Tivit goes like artifact.
Just, well, you open the floodgates. Here we are.
Yeah,
that's really good, dude. I had some fun games this weekend. They were very interesting.
Yeah, I had a lot of really good games. Played with a bunch of really good players. There were some really like cool decks there. Got to play against the Black Cauldron for the first time.
Ooh.
So shout out to Priscilla. They're a content creator. She's a really good player. Made the top 4. So that was really, really awesome on her homebrew deck. And so that was really very cool. Really fun to play that game. But yeah, a lot of interesting things. I did have like probably the single biggest tournament mess up I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Round 4? I think it had to have been round 4. Yeah. It was so bad, dude. I looking at my second 7, I'm like, okay, Ancient Tomb, fetch land. Okay, can Savine direct the fetch land back? Got an Entomb here. Okay, this is a really good hand. Go turn 1, fetch for black-white. Okay, pretty good. Pass the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Unstep, Entomb. Entomb Savine Reclamation. Go to my turn. Play Ancient Tomb. Wait, Savine's Reclamation casts for 3, flashbacks for 5.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. I was pretty demoralized, and we immediately got murked. By Malcolm Kedis. So that was pretty unfortunate. But yeah, it was a really hardcore tournament. A lot of really tough games.
Yeah, I don't think I think there was one game that felt like it was pretty straightforward and pretty easy, and that was my round 1. Fucking Christian on Heated Sugu and Kairi. We're playing. He like lands a clone effect. But he's drawn his 2 top cards at this point. He's brainstormed. He's cleared the brainstorm pile. And he just has this Mirage Mirror sitting now. He's like, on his turn, he's like, I guess I'll just sack it and just like get a blind flip and just like see what happens. Pays 2 mana into the Mirage Mirror, has it become a copy of Hitsugu and Kairi. The commander goes to the graveyard, flips the top card, enter the infinite. Just raw.
Dang!
Just raw. Fucking blind flip ETI off the top. And we all go, yep, that's just the game right there. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get any sort of like anything online, and the Italian player, one of the people playing Italian, just has a counterbalance out there. And this is like my one really big like major.
Did they have a 12 cost on top of their deck as well?
No, they kept Tainted Pact on top of their library no matter what they did. They cloned Hidetsugu and Kairi and then put a 2 back on top. I'm like, oh my god, I can't cast anything. I have all this mana, I have all these 2-drops in my hand, and I'm like, well, I guess they are in seat 2, I'm in seat 4. And seat 3 just goes land pass. They just cast nothing. They don't want to flip into the counterbalance. They don't want to be the one to put the action on there. And I'm like, I've got mana. I can just like cast a Thrasios and like see what's on there. It's a 2. And I'm just like, fucking course it is. Why would it not be a 2? Okay, pass the turn. Christian's just doing whatever he wants to do. Gets back to my turn. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play this Fimage. And they flip 2 again. And like, oh, no! Afterwards, we kind of discussed. I'm like, yeah, it was probably on me to tell you, like, hey, man, like, unless you can solo the table, you gotta let me develop something here. Because I was just planning on getting a heated Tsugan card because I was just gonna start getting beaten up. I'm like, I just want to like see some cards, but nope, couldn't resolve a single spell that game.
Dang, that is rough.
Yeah, it was just
so rough.
Super terrible game. That was like really the only like bad game I had. Everything else, every other game I think I played was pretty good. Yeah, my game two was really cool, really good. Put against a lot of really good opponents there. Game 3 was wild. That was the game that I lost my 1-3 gamble for. My game 4, the cardboard was miserable. The players were nice, but the cardboard was miserable. I felt very smart in my game 4. You want to know why?
Why?
So, I'm in seat 3. Seat 2 is Crick. And I'm like, okay, I know exactly how this goes. I need free interaction in my hand. I do not keep a single... the rest of the hand can be non-lands. I can't cast. Doesn't matter. I need counter spells that I can cast on turn 0 in my hand. Thankfully, I'm able to find it in my second 7. I find Mental Misstep, Mindbreak Trap. I'm like, okay.
That's a really good second 7 against Crick.
It was a cracked hand. I forgot to take notes this tournament, but it was like Mental Misstep, Mindbreak Trap, Vamp Tutor, 2 lands, and like something else. I'm like, yeah, this hand's like...
I'm sure it gets much better.
I'm like, this hand's goated. They cast Crick turn 1. I'm like, okay, cool. This is always going to happen. This is what the deck is designed to do. Then they cast Dark Ritual. I'm like, yeah, I'm mental misstepping that. Like, snap. I don't even think twice about it. I'm like, get that out of here. I don't want that here.
You pay 2 life for that spell? I'm paying 2 life for my spell also.
Yeah, we were buddies on that one. And then afterwards they sink another 6 life and they cast a Necropotent. So I look at their hand, they have 2 cards in hand. I'm like, yeah, Mindbreak Trap, get that shit out of here. We're not messing with that. They're at like 20 health. I'm like, I don't care. You're not allowed to have Necropotents in this game.
You do not get cards.
No, you definitely don't. And they were very sad. And then the Zur player lands an early Grafdigger's Cage on top of me after I tutor for a Dockside, trying to find a decent window to cast a Dockside. I essentially kept my hand on just the counter magic and hoping that I could refill at some point and just turn the corner into a win, and I just could not find the window. The Elesh Norn player just started developing stacks piece after stacks piece and started locking us out of the game. Like, yeah, this is awful. At some point, I found a Shieldred, and then the Crick player landed a Braids, and then they're pressuring the Zur player, and the Zur player fought back with a Path to Exile on their Crick, and they go Imsmith Shift. And I'm like, oh, sweet, this is great. Where are we pointing it at? And the Elesh Norn player is, you better not be pointing that at me. And they're like, oh, don't worry, I'm not. And before the spell resolves, I'm just like, okay, let's think this through. Why do you want to get rid of my Shieldred? And they're like, well, I'm going to lose life on the Braids. I want to stay ahead. I'm like, yeah, but your Crick's like 8 power. Like, you're swinging it every turn regardless. Like, you're getting more life than you would be losing off the Braids. I don't think that's really good. And, like, I'm not really stopping you from winning the game. There's a Rest in Peace and a Grafdigger's Cage and an Elesh Norn out. Like, you can't win through all 3 of those. And they go, I don't care, just kill your Shieldred. And then we lost to the Elesh Norn player. Yo,
that's crazy. It's always like bad threat assessment will lose you games.
And I'm just like, I understood your pain there in that moment. I finally understood what it felt like to be you and the matchups for me and you were playing.
You're like, bro, please, I understand that you don't like this card. That card is so much worse. Yeah.
Yeah, those are really like the only like standout moments. The rest of my games were just really good, just overall like well fought games, well played, and super good. I was pretty proud of myself with how I performed.
Nice. That's awesome. That's yeah. There were a bunch of really interesting plays that I witnessed happen throughout the tournament, whether they were mine or somebody else's. Like there was one point where I was watching over the back of a Rogsai player who was staring down. Oh man, it was a brutal board state. They were staring down another Zer player who'd resolved a chains of Mephistopheles. A Magda player who had some other stack piece in play, and then what was the fourth deck? The fourth deck was just beating them up. And then
Waylon?
I think it might have been like Dargo Rayhan or something. It
Whoa.
was, but like I'm looking at their hand, it's just terrible. The only thing they have in their hand that's worth anything is Demonic Consultation, and I watch as they cast Consult, naming Beseech the Mirror, and then exile everything but like the bottom 7 cards of their library, and I was just, oh.
That's so
tragic.
Tough. That's so tough.
So tragic. Also, the reason I hate that card: zero control of your fate.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of consultation either. Oh fuck it. The small tournament we had a week before, I don't think I told you about the one game that I won that was basically just tossed to me on a silver platter, did I?
No, I don't think so.
Grixis player, so I have a Kinnan player, I have an Urza player, and there's a Grixis player. The game's kind of like doing nothing. I kept a hand that was just literal turbo breach. It was every breach piece was in my hand. All I needed was a window and mana. That wasn't hard to say, now was it? I'm like, okay, this is cool. Graph Digger's Cage out of Urza early. I'm like, well, that shuts down literally my entire game plan. I think they went turn 1, Graph Digger's Cage. I'm like, yep, this hand loses to exactly that. But I was always going to keep this hand kind of regardless. The game plan was stop me. I'm going to win.
Sure.
Game grinds for a little bit, and then the Kinnan player, who's pretty new to the game, and we kind of talked about this afterwards, they just randomly killed the Graph Digger's Cage when they couldn't like spin Kinnan. And we're like, why are you doing this? And they're like, well, I want to be able to spin Kinnan. And they're like, you don't have the mana to do that. Why did you do that? Like, you just unlock people. Like, oh. It was a good teaching moment. They learned from it. Anyhow.
I'll never forget.
I played them again on Saturday, and they also threw the game a little bit. That's all right. We talked about it afterwards. Anyhow, the Urza player is like developing at this point. They cast a kitten, and I do the whoa. That's a scary spell that I don't want to see resolve. Like, if someone want to counterspell this, and the Grixis player goes, "You don't like this on the spell in the stack?" I'm like, "Yeah." I had a feeling they had a counterspell in hand. I was trying to just like egg their force out of their hand. Because at this point, the Graph Digger's Cage was cleared, and I was free to go. I just needed to clear all counter spells. And they go, okay, cool, I'll deal with it. Cast Consult? I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting Consult in response to that.
No, that's mad unfortunate.
4th card from the top was Force of Will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Consult exiling their library in Grixis, like game 1, oh man, absolutely wild. I'm going 4th. I keep a hand that's turn 2 Talion and a Pact of Negation off of a Gemstone Caverns and a Birds. But I'm going 4th against Pantlaza, which is like a Naya food chain dinosaur pile thing.
Oh, interesting.
Malcolm Kedis, which is Pirate's Magical Hack in red-blue. And then Rogsai, and then me. And Rogsai most like 5. I keep second 7. Pantlaza keeps like first 7. Malcolm Kedis keeps first 7. Pantlaza vomits their hand. A billion rocks. I'm over here crying because my 2 opponents are just dockside dot deck. And so I'm just crying. Malcolm Kedis also vomits their hand. Casts like turn 1 Malcolm. Rogsai is actually really tame turn. They go like land, rock, rog, pass. And I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Land, birds, pass. Pantlaza goes turn 2 Pantlaza. Discover into Emiel, pass with no mana up. They pass to Kedis Malcolm. They cast Kedis, I think. Like slap somebody with Malcolm, make some treacherous and pass. Rog tutors, vamp tutors an end step. I think it's a vamp tutor. Or no, they gamble on their turn. They go to their turn. They cast Guild Artisan, attack with Rograk, cast Gamble, cast Rhystic Study, pass. I play my Italian, immediately like snap red blasted by Rogsai before there's any discussion or
They
anything.
did not want that there.
They really didn't. They're
Wow.
like, I can't win through this card, and I was like, oh, okay, man. I really wish you'd save that to like shut off a Glinthorn Buccaneer combo or something though, because like it's Malcolm Geddes. And they're like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but also like my deck literally can't win through that card. And I was like, pass the Pantlaza. Pantlaza flickers their commander like 3 times, flips into Mana Dork, and Survival of the Fittest. Runs out of mana, passes the turn. They have like 1 mana left. Pass the turn. And Is It Pirates windmill slams Glinthorn Buccaneer, and I'm just over here crying, going, "Oh my god, please!" And goes to Rogsai. They're like, "Pass priority. I can't counter that." I look them dead in the face and say, "Well, I'm not countering that. I pass priority." And then thankfully Pantlaza, because I only had 4 mana, so I can't pact it or I die, and I'm not about to pact it and die in my round 1. If I get a loss, I get a loss, and maybe my tiebreakers will be better. So Pantlaza, thankfully, playing Galadriel's Dismissal. This card's really cool. Phases out a creature. So they phase out the Glinthorn Buccaneer for 1 white. There's no counter magic to be had from Malcolm Geddes. Phases out. They pass the turn. Upkeep. Rogsai casts Mystical Tutor. I'm like, you're getting a removal spell for that Glinthorn Buccaneer, right? And they're like, yeah, I was kind of thinking of getting something to deal with it. And I was like, well, you play Rollick, right? And they're like, I do. I don't think I really want to get that. And I'm just over here going, well, don't get Ad Nauseam. And now I'm telling everyone, I have a counter spell. And against Rogsai, I'll cast it. I'm spiteful that way. I'm spiteful that way. I'll choose to die instead of giving Rogsai the opportunity.
Damn.
And so I hate playing that deck, dude. It's just not fun. You're sitting on just pins and needles until they die. And so they're like, well, I was kind of thinking about getting like a Windfall. And I was like, oh, I mean, I guess I wouldn't hate that, but also like, what's the number of cards in hand? Only 4? Okay, well, here's the thing is we know that the Is It player has no counter spells in hand right now because they didn't protect their win. So like, don't get that and refill their hand. Because also Pantlaza is sitting over here with Emiel, a Dockside count of like 12 and a Survival of the Fittest to play, but they've told us no creature because I was asking them to go get like a Solitude or something. And so I was like, please do not refill our opponent's hands and just throw away the game because yeah, you might win off it, but yeah, I might also stop you, and yeah, we might also just lose. They're like, okay, you've convinced me, Rollick. So they get Rollick, passes to me, play my 3rd land. Now I can cast Pact and actually pay for it. Thank God. Cast Kenrith, pass. Pantlaza knows that they can't do anything. They can't go for any wins right now because I have their face staring down both a counterspell and a Rollick that hasn't been used yet. So they end up just like flickering their commander a bunch and putting some stuff in their hand and passing.
Value Town, baby.
Value Town. Untap on Is It, upkeep, draw, move to combat, Rollick the guy. They know that it's just going to eat a counter spell, so even if they have a counter, they don't use it. Buccaneer gets Rollicked, they pass. Rogsai is like been drawing a couple of cards off of Ristic Study, so I'm crying. But they do nothing, and then they pass. They like Imperial Seal and then pass. And then I get to untap with a Kenrith and just pass, planning to reanimate Talion at some point. And then Pantlaza, they know there's still a counterspell, so they try nothing still, and then pass. Is It tries to shove another win. They use a magical hack and some like Reckless Fireweaver style effect it's like it turns into a pirate and then it deals damage and then like you make an artifact because it dealt some damage or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know. It's wild. Nobody, even me, didn't see it until after it was on the field. And then they're like, move to combat, and I was like, okay, wait, what does Arcane Adaptation say again? That thing becomes what does that creature say again? Oh no. I was like, oh guys, I have a counterspell and I kind of flubbed a little, and by a little I mean a lot. We have to remove this card or we lose. I do have an Esper Sentinel in play. Rogsai has a Ristic Study in play, so I was like, maybe we can do something. Rog's like, well, I can get us an answer. Rog goes, I go, okay, what can you do? They're like, well, I can tutor for a removal spell. I was like, okay. I think I can, and I can like make you draw it if you like put it on top or whatever. Oh no, it'll go to my hand. Okay, interesting. Sure, go for it.
Oh no, I know.
Demonic Consultation.
Oh, it was the 1 mana spell, not the
It was the
5 mana
1 mana
spell.
spell, not the 5 mana spell. I was like, Demonic Consultation? I was like, S% Sentinel trigger? They're like, yeah, draw. I was like, man, I really hope this is a Beseiju for that Arcane adaptation. Lift top card, not a Beseiju. Swords to Plowshares. Still answers the problem. Put that puppy into my hand. Yeah, pass the Demonic Consultation. Very safe now. Pass on Demonic Consultation. They're like, okay, great, it resolves. They're like, oh, now I have to remember what removal spells I play because I've already used Rawlik. And I was like, do you like Chain of Vapor? They're like, yeah, I play Chain. I'll probably do Chain. I was like, well, if you do Chain, then they can like bounce your Ristic Study by sacking a land and stuff, and they're Malcolm Kedis, so they do not care about mana anymore. So like, they're just gonna mess with your board more. It's like, do you have any others? Do you like Snap or Snapback or something like that? And they're like, no. It's like Dress Down still does it, still buys us a turn, which is really all we need. Like, yeah, I don't think I play that. Like, bro, A, what is in your deck? And B, do you play Cyclonic Rift because you have exactly 2 mana, you can Baby Rift it? And they're like, oh, yeah, I play Cyclonic Rift. I was like, okay, cool. They're like, yeah, I'm going to console for Cyclonic Rift. Flip the top 6, not there. Great.
Oh, we passed the minigame.
Go. 30 cards later, they're like, oh man, I just exiled my Thoracle. Go. Praetor's Grasp. Go. Breach. Oh, I'm not sure I have any win cons left. Go. Gets to the last card.
Music to my ears.
What? Flip the last card, not Cyclonic Rift. They're not playing the card.
Oh my god.
They did not realize they were not playing Cyclonic Rift. They're like, oh, of course they're crying because like, who wouldn't be at that point? I would be so upset myself.
I would also be upset.
And they're like, I've not only killed myself, I've let down the table in the process. Feels terrible. They pass Prio to me, and I go, okay, I swear to God, I did not have this in my hand. I did rip the Swords and Plowshares off of your cast of Consultation. I'll Swords the Malcolm. They were like, and they were like, Ristic Study trigger. I was like, yeah, I'm not paying. And they're like, yeah, I'll choose to draw. Just killed themselves, get themselves out of there. They needed time to go reset their mental or whatever. So that was a wild game.
God, how do you not play Cyclonic Rift?
It was a very interesting game. I guess they were like new to the deck or something.
Okay.
Or like maybe new to the variant or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Very unfortunate though. It was mad unfortunate.
That's mad unfortunate. Oh my god.
I then proceeded to get to my turn, untap, or like reanimate Talion on instep or something. I don't know. Anyways, gets to my turn. I pass. Pet Lazo tries to double. They go survival, pitching this, also survival, pitching that, and I go, okay, Ella Domri's call. And
no.
Malcolm Kedis player looks at me and goes, "What's this getting?" And I was like, well, considering they're trying to win the game and have 2 survival activations on the stack, probably for Grand Abolisher, Dockside Extortionist, it'll be Opposition Agent. And they're like, oh, okay, resolves. I was like, op both your things. And then I took Dockside Extortionist, of course, because I wasn't allowed to gonna allow them to top deck their way back into the game. And then the card that actually won me that game, Sardine Avenger. Sardine?
Oh, let's go! Sardine Avenger!
At any rate, Malcolm Kedis makes a lot of artifacts, and they were not cracking, because I was hitting the Pentlaza player with their own Sardine Avengers, so that baby was swinging for like 10.
It's a really good card. I've considered playing it a couple of times.
It's like really strong when it's strong, and it's really bad when it's not good.
Yeah, like I guess if you're fearing a lot of like Dockside loops, it's pretty decent just as like a way to like fight it, kind of.
I mean, but it stops those because you can Dockside loop at instant speed.
Yeah,
crackle my treasures, triggers on the stack, activate my thing. Dockside trigger, make a bunch of stuff, crack all those triggers on the stack. Yeah.
It stops the bad players, is what it does.
It scares them.
It scares them. You'd be like, "Oh, I can just kill you in response," and it's like, "Well, technically, yeah, but if you don't know how to play at instant speed, well, maybe skill diff definitely." Damn, Consultation. People still want to play that card.
Apparently, and like, yeah, but I will say it does raise an interesting note though. So trolling through Twitter as I do. Because I manage our Twitter feed. And honestly, we've been getting some good engagement. So comment on our Twitter posts and stuff. I've been trying to put us out there.
Socials are in the description for all the doobly-doos and show notes.
Heck yes. At any rate, the point was not to plug. The point was to say, saw a really interesting thing on Twitter today. Magic Twitter adjusted the MTR, which is the multiplayer rules.
I did see that. What was that about?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things changing. They codified some stuff like the 80 minutes no turns. They codified some stuff about like in private information. It's like private information is controlled by players, blah blah blah. Changed some things. Mostly it was like judge TO oriented stuff where they were just like identifying specifically individual penalties and defining different warning levels and stuff like that. The one major change that players are going to care about is that according to the new MTR, which Eminence is going to be adopting, draws are no longer dead and alive. Draws are only alive, which means that if you perish before your round is over, whether that means somebody wins, you get 0 points, they get 5, or the game draws, all players get 1 point. All players no longer get 1 point. Only the players left alive at the end of the round will receive the 1 point for a draw. Players who have died before that will no longer get a point for a draw.
Huh.
Very interesting.
That's a big change.
It is a big change, considering that before this, it was very standard for draws to be dead and alive.
Yeah.
The reasoning being that like players can't get bullied out of the game to adjust scoring and sort of like try and manipulate the standings and stuff, which makes sense because that's a very valid concern. It's one of the things that I have worries about. The other concern I have about this new ruling is that it neuters pact of negation, especially like a late game pact of negation that one just can't pay for like whatever reason. Is like this, you're only out as countering the spell. You have the counter spell. Used to be a relatively easy thing to say in tournament play. If there's 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock, I will pact of negation this, knowing full well that I will never be able to pay for it on my turn because
to guarantee the draw.
It gets me to a draw. It gets me 1 point as opposed to 0. That said, I've even seen people do it in like the first 2 turns and then just hope and pray for a draw because otherwise they were getting 0 points guaranteed. Relatively straightforward. With this new ruling, pact of negation, all of the packs, so Slaughter Pact and Pact of Negation, get serious nerfs.
They really do.
Because if a player forgets a pact trigger, or if you have to pact to not lose the game or something, you still die, which means that you no longer get a point, which means there's no reason for you to cast that spell. So it's very interesting. That said, the one thing that I do really, really like about it, it punishes turbo players for fucking up a win attempt. If you go Thoracle Consult on turn 2 and someone stifles your Thoracle trigger and you die on your next draw step, you deserve to get 0 points. My opinion. You should not be rewarded for trying to jam quantity over quality and just say, here's a win attempt, here's a win attempt, here's a win attempt on turn 2 and 3 every single game. Frequently die, sometimes win, and then make a top cut because you won enough games. Yeah. You won enough games, or you drew enough games that you squeaked in there on the bubble, or your tiebreakers were great or something. You don't deserve to be rewarded for that. That's not player skill. That is simply a player like doing a strategy that isn't good, or even if it is good, like you're not playing it well. I made some posts on social about it, and one of the comments we got back was, yeah, but like it also, this means that the draws thing means that players they're not punished for trying to win, and it doesn't reward trying to not lose. And I just inherently disagree with that. I think that like while every player should be trying to win the game, you should never go in with the mindset of, yeah, I'm going to take this game to a draw, unless you're trying to ID for some reason, like based on scoring and stuff.
Or like you just have every answer in the world, and your only thing you can do is stop other people. So your goal is to guide the table to a draw.
But that should never be the objective. I agree, but you also shouldn't be rewarding decks that just throw shit out there just to throw it out there, because honestly, I don't really care about playing this game. I just kind of maybe want to win sometimes, and maybe if I kind of sometimes win enough, then I'll win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And that is not player skill. That's, hey guys, I'm going to place a bet on RNG. You know what? Respectfully, go to the casino and play roulette. You'll have more fun. Just bet the field.
I think I am in favor of this change. I think mainly just for the reasons that you've outlined. I also think that it fixes a lot of like, I think it rewards people who are able to survive and navigate situations, and I think it doesn't. Is punish the right word I want to use here?
Yeah, it doesn't punish turbo decks. It just means that you have to play better. You have to be good. You can play turbo still. Absolutely, is still viable. The the tournament rules don't change anything.
No,
They
not
don't
at all.
they don't even punish your list like the time restrictions punish mid-range control and stacks decks. That it's just that like you have to be good at your list as opposed to just being like, hey guys, I net decked wrong side, like I hope this works.
Yeah, I think it's gonna force people to choose their windows better, specifically like the ROG size of the world. Like you have to choose your windows correctly now, or more correct. You have to reduce the amount of gambling you have to do on your turbo turn.
Yeah, that said, as a big Pact of Negation player, like I think that card, I really like that card. It puts me in a weird spot because I don't like that players can't play for draws now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, hey, this game is literally unwinnable. Let's try and find it out. This rule set does incentivize players to say, this game is literally unwinnable. Oh well, guess I'll just lose because I'm gonna lose either way.
Yeah, there's no reason to toss the Pact of Negation out if you cannot legitimately pay for it.
Yeah, or like maybe if time is low, you're hoping that it just like extends the stack war or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. Supposedly, there's gonna be like some sort of adjustment to the rules because the community was very upset about this change, which like it's pretty controversial. I don't think it's worth being mad about, but it's pretty controversial. There was a lot of like people going, "This is awful," or like, "This is really good," or there are just people are very passionate about it. Understandably, I'm not really sure what my concrete opinions are yet. Like I said, I enjoy the fact that it forces turbo players to have to be better at the game. I dislike the fact that it takes away one of control and stacks deck's tools to try and like get to an out if a game is truly unwinnable. Or even turbo decks, because those decks all play hella Pact of Negations. Like sometimes you're playing Roxai and someone else goes for the win and you have the Pact and you're looking for that draw because you're not winning now.
Yeah, you've already shot your shot. You've
there's a deafening silence and 6 other stacks pieces. You all you have to your name is this Pact. So I don't know. Maybe the adjustment absolutely wild. Maybe the adjustment means that like play like you add a vote to it or something where it's like players.
I think it's messy.
That's what I'm saying. That yeah, like you don't want players voting because then it gets really weird and like swingy. But also like you can't just be like all cards with Pact in the name no longer cause utility.
That I think that is closer to a like middle ground fix, but I think the best middle ground fix for this is not having a middle ground.
Yeah,
I think you either make it so that a draw is everyone in the pod gets the point, or only the remaining players get the point, or only the alive players get the point. I don't think there's like I at least off rip cannot think of a good like in between solution that handles like the packed situations but also does what the change was intended to do.
Yeah, I can't either. Supposedly this new MTR was put together by a couple of like L2 through 5 judges. So like theoretically after receiving some feedback, they're going to be revising it and changing that rule specifically. Or like at least adjusting it or something. So we'll see what happens with that, but just kind of interesting.
The adjustment is just they add an addendum that says "suck D's."
Suck D's.
I think I overall I like that change more.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, mixed feelings because I really want to be able to say, "Whoa, we're losing the game immediately." Pact of Negation, but also like I really want to say, "Whoa, you messed up your Thoracle console." Kill
Sucks
you,
to suck.
Out of here. Go to the lower table.
Buddy. Sorry.
I think but that was another consideration I had too though, is like, are we actually rewarding turbo players by sending them to the lower tables? Like they have good tiebreakers now because they've lost to somebody who's better than them. And they're fighting opponents who are objectively worse than them because they're at the lower tables. Or like maybe not objectively worse, but like they're
standing wise worse.
And lower tier decks are probably going to be less well equipped or not have the knowledge base to fight decks like Rogsai as effectively, and so they just go to rip the super fast win every single time, and they actually end up getting more wins. Like, are we actually like long term rewarding them? Because I also don't want that. I do not. Basically, it boils down to
I don't want to let the turbo player.
Turbo decks. Stop pushing turbo decks.
The turbo agenda is going too fast.
Big turbo is going too hard, and I don't like it.
Big turbo. No. Okay, think of it like this: we're exposing more of the community to turbo so they can learn how to beat it and not lose to it.
Everyone should be playing turn 1 Deafening Silence every single game.
And that's what I'm doing.
Every single game. I don't care what deck you're playing. You're playing blue-red, play turn 1 Deafening Silence. How you get there, not my problem.
I will not call the judge on you if you
I
play turn 1
will not call the
Deafening
judge on you. Also, just honestly, companion zone it.
Yeah. Companion zone.
But old
Deafening
companion
Silence.
rules. You don't have to pay. You just have to pay a white pip. So
Oh,
play
God.
mana Confluence in all of your mono black decks.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So Deafening Silence is in your command zone. I'm putting this loaded gun into mine. I don't have to pay mana for it. Yeah. So I ended my tournament at Yield the Laughing Dragon with a not 1-3. Wow. No, I went 1-2. I had a winning record for once.
You did. You look at that. You're up in the world.
I'm up, baby. I'm up. Yeah, no, I
so up.
I feel like most of my I feel like my wins were very much hard fought. I felt like I was online basically every single game. My 2 draws that I had, if they got back to my turn and I didn't lose that 1-3 chance, I would have won the game. And my 2 losses were very much outside of my control.
Awesome. That's exactly where you said you wanted to be at the beginning of the year too. You're like, I just want to improve my record and do better and have fun. And I think you ticked all of those boxes with this turn.
I think I did. I think I had something to pull away from every single one of those games. And I played my little heart out. So
all we
yeah,
can
I actually ended a major tournament like actually feeling like pretty happy and pretty pleased with myself. Made it. I think I finished 21st out of 56.
I was just about to ask, did you know your standing? Because that's pretty good. That's well above the halfway point.
It
like
was
6 or 7 places above, right?
Yeah. About. There was like a 6 or 7 way tie for 16th. So I knew going into my last round, if I got a win, I would have a chance to squeak in on tiebreakers, but my tiebreakers weren't that great. But also I was like, I'm kind of also fine with ending my tournament day at 7:30 p.m. God, that was so nice. That was so nice.
Just making a quick one.
Hey, quick and efficient. That's what it's all about. So that was my tournament experience. You, however, made it on to Top Cut. So what happened with your Top Cut games?
Yeah, it was we played some good games. The semis game was good. It was Farm in first, me in second, Tivit third, and then a Najila deck in fourth. It was a really good pod. I think it was pretty slow overall. It was like Farm goes turn 1, land Soaring Pass. I was, like I said, was like land Mystic Remora, Chrome Mox, and then I think I passed. I might have cast like a Birds of Paradise or something. Anyways, Tivit ended up on a Malta 4, so they go Sensei's Top Pass, and Najila comes out swinging. They go like turn 1, land Crypt Najila, pass. Farm plays a land and like maybe like a Tibna or a Crom. I don't remember exactly. Anyways, they do something kind of inconsequential. I pay for my fish. I think they might have tutored or something. Anyways, I pay for my fish and then miss a land drop, which was the theme of the game for me. And then pass. Tivit feeds me another card, casts Counterbalance, passes. Najila casts Samut, and then swings, draws like 4 cards. Is Najila, Warrior, and Samut. So she draws 3 cards off the Warrior.
Gasses back up.
Yeah, gets up to 7 cards again because this Counterbalance is just flipping nothing to deal with the deck. Farm cast a Ragavan. That's what it was on their turn 2. So then they cast a Ragavan. So then if Farm go, I'm crying to myself, going, guys, we literally just died in Najila next turn, and there's nothing we can do about it. Because Tivit has no cards in hand. I have no mana, even if I could deal with it. And Farm goes, yeah, I do not have a way to tutor Toxic Deluge or anything like that. And goes to turn, rips Toxic Deluge for turn, and goes, well, I guess now I have to cast this. So they crack in with Monkey. Cast a Deathrite Shaman off the top of Najila's library. And then or they Toxic and then they cast the Deathrite Shaman.
I was gonna say, do they really cast the Deathrite into
No, they Toxic and then they Deathrite Shaman.
Okay, good.
The treasure. Wipes out my dork, so my fish dies on the next turn. Thankfully, I've drawn a land, but the land doesn't color fix me, so I'm off red and white So I pitch the land to Mox Diamond to fix my colors. So I can cast Dockside. Dockside makes 4. Somehow resolves through the counterbalance. Pass. The goes around. Najila casts the ring and starts grinding. Farm casts probably Crom or something. I go to end step, tutor, enlighten tutor for Phyrexian Metamorph, cast Phyrexian Metamorph on my turn, try to copy the ring. Of course, this gets counterbalanced.
Of course.
The Tivit player flips a Smothering Tithe, so I'm just literally
Right
on board.
Right on cue.
I've cracked down to 3 treasures. I have 3 mana that's permanent, so I have 6 mana total, but 3 of it's treasures. Pass the turn, nothing to do. It goes around. I do top deck Niv Mizzet for turn, so I slam the Niv Mizzet, cracking all my treasures. Can't be counterbalanced, thank God. Pass the turn.
You mean they didn't flip the Inferno Titan?
Even if they did, that's too bad, because the card reads uncounterable. Even my triggers. So, ha! But yeah, so then the game continues, goes on a couple more turns. I try and cloud shift my Dockside, gets counterbalanced. I try to tutor or do something else, gets counterbalanced. And that is the theme of the game for the rest of the game. Tivit has a Smothering Tithe, comes back from 4 cards, just absolutely just beating us bloody. And finally we get to the point where I was like, Najila's like, what's in everyone's graveyards? I'm like, honestly, doesn't even matter. Pretty sure you can win off of mine in farms, so just send your meme bet, dude. We have to force this Tivit to use one of the 2 counter spells we know they're holding and tax their mana for this counterbalance, like top spin shenanigans, because otherwise we're just gonna die on their next turn. So just send it. If you win, you win. They're like, okay, send it. Gets countered. I draw 2 cards. Farm gets to their turn, tries to do something, gets countered. Okay, draw 2 cards. Moving out of main phase, touch the Spirit Realm on my Dockside. Thank God it can't be countered, and I know that Farm's not going to waste a D-SWAT on this, because basically the whole count for Dockside is crackable, except for like maybe 5 or 6, and that's just enough to kind of almost maybe sort of get me relevant back into the game. Because I still have only 3 mana.
Okay, yeah. But you have a Niv Mizzet, and you.
But I do have a Niv Mizzet, and I've drawn a couple of cards, so maybe I'll hit a land drop this next turn. We'll see. Yeah, touch resolves, end step, delayed trigger, Farm flashes and dress down. I was like, well, okay, motherfucker. Thank God I have Swan Song it, Niv trigger, go to draw a card. Very much expecting the Tivit player to counter my Swan Song, so like still just out of the game, and they win. And they go, no, I'm not going to tap my top, I'm not going to cast a counter spell, this seems fine, whatever. Okay, I guess that makes sense. We know they have an overloadable Cyclonic Rift in their hand. They'll just do that in response to the trigger, or they'll just like wait till I make my treasures or do it, or they'll crack all their stuff, whatever. Trigger goes on the stack. Tivit gets priority, and Farm goes, you gonna crack your stuff? I really think you should. I'll crack all mine if you crack all yours. And they have like 6 treasures as well. And Tivit goes, no, I don't really think I need to. I don't really want to do that right now. That puts me so far behind after all this value that I've accumulated. After all, I did multi-4 and I only have 2 or 3 cards in my hand. And Farm's like, I really think we need to do this. And Tivit's like, no, I'm not going to. And Farm's like, well, I'm not going to. So no one cracks anything. I make 26 treasures and move to my turn.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah! And like I said, basically all of those were crackable except like 5 or 6.
Jesus.
So I moved to my turn with infinite mana. And open with land drop.
Infinite.
Yeah, and I open my turn with land drop, Abrupt Decay, the counterbalance, and then the Tivit goes Mindbreak Trap. Literally the only card in the world that can answer it, because of course they have it.
Mm-hmm.
They just hard cast it, and I go, guys, they can't overload Cyclonic Rift anymore. This is the only card that can answer that, and I know for a fact neither of you two have an answer, and we're just dying on Tivit's turn. You have to defend this card. Can you do anything? And Jill's like, no, I'm F6. Farm goes, well, I can cast this spell. And they cast a counter spell. Tivit casts a counter spell. I think I cast a counter spell. Tivit casts 1 more counter spell or something. And Farm goes, well, and we're paying for all our Smothering Tithe triggers at this point, like everything. We're just making sure Tivit has 0 resources after stopping this.
Okay, good.
And Farm goes, well, I guess I'll do this. Taps out, cracks all the last of their stuff, hard casts a Force of Will on the Mindbreak Trap. Stack resolves. I draw like 6 more cards off of Niv Mizzet, shoot
Of course.
Tivit in the face. They're now sub 10 life total. Thank God. I'm over here thinking, well, worst comes to worst, we'll just try and beat them to death with like Niv Mizzet pings and Orcish Bowmasters and whatever we happen to have access to. But I also have this Eldritch Evolution, so I sack my Dockside Extortionist to that to go get a Grand Demolisher, to which Tivit goes, what is this getting? And Farm goes, well, probably a Grand Demolisher. And I say, doesn't have to be a Grand Demolisher. Gets anything remaining in my deck. And Tivit goes, oh, okay. Well, I have a response. I'm like, oh, man, I have one more counter spell, but that's all. And they go, Archivist Dog, last card in there.
Let's go.
I was like, they're like, okay. I was like, Eldritch Resolve? And Tivit's like, yeah. Jill's like, I'm still F6. Farm goes, I have no other responses. Eldritch Resolves, Grand Demolisher to the field. Oh, that's not true. Farm did use the Deathrite Shaman to exile my Dockside Extortionist, which actually kind of big.
Yeah, it's
so,
one more thing away from you.
Yeah, for sure. So Abolisher in play. No one thinks to crack their stuff because there's still like 6 crackables sitting on field. Abolisher. They said, guys, it's gonna be Abolisher. No one cracks anything. Abolisher's now in play. They can't crack anything. I finale for 2. Phantasmal Image. Copy Farm's Dockside Extortionist. Win the game.
You hit him with the can't crack artifacts deck on the Abolisher.
Yeah, well, like they were like, guys, it's getting an Abolisher, and then they just didn't crack anything.
Oh my god. You know, I bet they will keep that in consideration from this point forward.
I think it was only Tivit had crackables left, but Tivit had like 4 or 5 crackables left, and they were just like, no, that's fine.
What the fuck? Oh god. Okay. Jesus Christ. You know, sometimes you just land a Niv Mizzet and just go, guys, stop the Tivit player. Please.
Yeah, it was... Well, I mean, when it's turn like 12, and I have still 3 mana sources, and Tivit has functionally infinite mana and card draw, plus a countertop in play, and their commander, who's the bad guy, really?
Oh, no, 100%. 100%. Let's get it. Grand Abolisher. Oh.
Also, that wit, not my fault, didn't deserve it. Lesson learned, crack your fucking treasures when a Dockside trigger goes on the stack.
Why would you let someone make 26 mana off of a Dockside?
Infinite mana for 2 mana. I propose you receive, please, guys, please, don't insta-crack into Dockside, but consider the consequences and what the math says.
I think the entirety of the event, I was so scared to crack Dockside or cast Dockside. I think I was only casting Dockside when I absolutely needed to, or I was attempting to win the game.
You were scared of clones?
I was scared of every clone out there. There were so many, and I was correct for that. There were a lot of clones that I saw this weekend.
I'm not gonna lie, I was firing off that bad boy left and right. I was like, I'll Dockside. And
if my hands
countered, I'll reanimate Dockside.
If my hands were gassed enough that I could play through my Dockside being countered, I was, but for the most part, my hands just were not matched up well with Dockside. Dockside was making a lot of mana. I was keeping my Dockside count on average was like 6 or 7. I'm like, this never happens. I never get this much mana off Dockside. This is great. But I also don't have the backup or the gas to be able to do anything with this Dockside, so I'm not filtering it into Thrasios activations. Maybe I should be doing that. I don't know.
Just turn treasures into lands. Not the worst thing in the world at all.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing. I probably should have done that. I probably could have eked out a couple more percentage points, but live and learn. Okay, so you made it past semis somehow by the skin of your teeth and the grace of God.
Barely.
You made it to finals.
Yeah, I did do that. We were happy to be there. It was a good game. The Malcolm Kedis list that absolutely murked me in like round 4 or whatever it was seeded first out of Swiss, and they won their semis pod as well. So it was them, followed by another Kenrith player who is ranked slightly higher than me, myself in 3rd, and then the Black Cauldron, Priscilla's deck, in 4th. Malcolm Kedis goes like Land Rock, Gamble, doesn't cast Malcolm Passes. Kenrith goes like Land Rock. I go Land Rock Pass. Cauldron goes, I think they were like Land Mox Diamond Pass or something like that. Turn 2 Malcolm Pass. Kenrith plays a turn 2 Selvala. I end step Enlightened Tutor for a Smothering Tithe. Turn 2 Smothering Tithe. Pass, Treasure, and then Cauldron cast something else as well, I think. I don't remember exactly what happened after that. It might have cast one of their commanders or something. Malcolm goes untap, upkeep, draw, play Kedis, play Kedis, go to combat. I abrupt decay Malcolm in combat because of my treasure shifting. We've shifted my colors to the abrupt decay. Blow them out. They have like 2 cards left in their hand, 3 cards, something, not a lot. Goes to Kenrith. Kenrith slams Italian into play on 2. Goes to me. I Phyrexian Metamorph their Italian and pass. I Phyrexian Metamorph their Italian and cast my own Kenrith and pass.
Jesus.
Then it goes Cauldron. I don't think they do anything really notable. I think they play a Ristic Study, actually. They do something notable. They play a Ristic Study. That's what it was. Goes to Malcolm. Malcolm casts like rock something. Malcolm Glinthorn Buccaneer, to which we've both drawn a couple cards off our Italians, and the other Kenrith player throws a Mindbreak Trap on the Buccaneer, which, like, very safe play. I probably would have done it myself in their shoes. Had I also not noticed that the Malcolm player had no cards in hand. Because, for fun fact for those of y'all out there, Buccaneer has an activation cost of red 1 and discard a card, which means that you cannot combo if you have no cards in hand. And the Malcolm player had no cards in hand and no way to get cards there. So
womp womp.
We would have all had a chance to untap and respond to the Buccaneer combo before it could have gone off. Anyways, Mindbreak Trap, go to their turn, cast Kenrith, pass, end step, I Swords their Selvala. Because I know it's one of their combo pieces, and it's going to generate them a lot of mana that'll keep them on par with my Smothering Tithe. I do not want this. Because I have Italian, the Kenrith, and a Smothering Tithe. Swords that, they ask an op with the Selvala mana in response. Pass to me. Smart op play. I tell them that that was a really good play because I would have definitely had a win on my turn, guaranteed. Would have Eldritched into Abolisher and then finale'd into a Dockside one. Exact same play as last time. Couldn't do that now. Both Hooters locked off. Pass the turn. There's a Dothian play that had eaten my swords. The play goes around. Cauldron's drawing cards off their Ristic Study. Malcolm's doing nothing because they're Hellbent. The other Kenrith player isn't doing a lot either. I cast an OBM at some point in response to a bunch of Ristic Italian triggers, try and kill the opposition agent so I can win on my turn. They tap out to protect it at their end step. Because I was like, OBM, triggering the Italian, and then I trigger the Italian and the Ristic Study like 2 or 3 more times to force Kenrith pumps. Op gets protected, whatever. It gets to my turn. I have a bunch of mana from the Smothering Tithe. Go Ristic Study, Mystic Remora, pass the turn, still with 15 mana up.
Great spot to be in.
Really good spot to be in. Talion, Kenrith, Tithe, Ristic Study, Mystic Remora, and OBM, if I didn't mention that one.
Good lord.
So, nutty board state, pass. Cauldron opens with Veil of Summer. Kedis is Hellbent, goes, I got nothing. Kenrith sighs heavily with 3 mana up and goes, I have nothing for this. I also look at my hand at 4 counter spells, an endurance, and 3 Kenrith activations on board, and say, well, I could counter this. I don't really want to because I'll draw a lot more cards if they feed my Talion, my Ristic Study, and my Mystic Remora. I can deal a lot of damage with this Orcish Bowmasters, and Veil of Summer doesn't protect you or your permanents from Swords to Plowshares, an endurance trigger, or a Kenrith activation. So yeah,
or Touch the Spirit Realm,
or 97 other things. So yeah, that resolves. Whatever. Spell resolves. They start going for it, and by going for it, I mean they start going for it. They're like, cast Underworld Breach, lose 4 life, 2 Talion triggers, Ristic trigger, Mystic trigger, pay for nothing, lose all my life. Meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm like, okay, every OBM trigger's dinging the other Kenrith player in the face because I'm just about to kill them if this stuff starts going off. Yeah. I know that the Cauldron player is not winning through everything I have on the field and in my hand. Anyways, I get fed about 20-something cards before they finally realize that they can't win. Oh, sorry. They start, after the Veil, they crack their Dothy Voidwalker and use my swords to exile the opposition agent, to which the other Kenrith player goes, I think we've just lost. And I don't think it quite registered that they were talking about to me, not to the Cauldron player.
Yeah, all those counter spells would be really cool to have.
At any rate,
yeah.
Draw, like I said, I've drawn 20 cards here. At some point, I cast Intuition. targeting the other Kenny player. The Kenrith player goes, I guess I'll Necromancy the Dothy in response, just so that I eat 2 cards off this Intuition. The stack resolves. So Intuition, I Intuition for Op, Slaughter Pact, and Entomb. They give me the Entomb because I can't Entomb into the Dothy Voidwalker.
Yep.
And then immediately after they give me the Entomb, they say, wait, I was supposed to give the Opposition Agent, wasn't I? Which, probably correct, because the Dothy's leaving play at cleanup step. We continue storming into all of the Talions and Ristics and Mystics and all of these things, only to realize that we probably aren't going to get there through this Dothy Voidwalker. And so they cast a Spellseeker to get like a Pact of Negation or something. I think that's what it was. Maybe it was a Tainted Pact. I don't know. They either set up for a win on their next turn or they got an interactive spell. Not exactly sure. Move to end step, breach sacks into Dothy, gone forever. Move to cleanup step, Dothy sacks, move to next turn. The Malcolm Caddis player untaps, upkeeps, draws. Turns out they drew Ophidian Eye because they immediately proceed to try and cast them on their Malcolm, draw me several cards, make me some amount of mana off of the Rhystic Study, and then I mana drain it. They move to combat, they go through combat, they go to end step, and then through a convoluted series of I'll cast a lot of spells and take a lot of game actions, I was able to get Displacer Kitten into play at instant speed, copy the Spellseeker with my Phyrexian Metamorph that used to be Italian, being able to tutor up cards and things, and then flicker my Phyrexian Metamorph to make it a copy of LED, so I would be able to, if I needed to, crack it for mana, putting all of the creatures and combo pieces from my hand into my graveyard where I could use them at instant speed. Didn't come to that, but that was an option that I had that I thought was really clever. And then my favorite part of the game was honestly when me paying for no Rhystic Studies because all my spells are free and generate me mana at this point, as long as they keep drawing. They find that my opponents finally draw a Mindbreak Trap, cast the Mindbreak Trap, and I force
It's too late. It's too late.
I force of negation it using a pitch cast, and the Malcolm player's like, you can't pitch cast that. You have to pay, and you don't have the pips necessary to pay it right now. And I look at him and say, why can't I pitch cast it? And he goes, you can't pitch cast on your own turn. And I go, bro, it's your end step.
Oh my god.
Honestly, shout out Isaiah. Favorite part of the whole tournament was that line, so thank you. This is a really good game, and I enjoyed playing with everyone, but that was my favorite line of the entire day. You can't cast that. It's your end step. And just his face was just, whoa. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. So yeah.
So many game actions.
So many game actions. Yeah. They thought it was my turn. It was not.
That's so funny.
It was really fun though. I had a great just tournament experience overall. It was a fantastic way to start the year, start the grind and this season. Got to play against some of the best players in the area. And it was just super, super fun. Got to meet a bunch of new people who were new to the area, new to the scene. So
there was a good crop of new people here.
And yeah, really looking forward to seeing how all of those players evolve and mature and produce new changes in the metas.
Absolutely. No, I had a fantastic time at Yield the Laughing Dragon up in Issaquah, Washington. Fantastic event. I love the venue. I like going there a lot.
Yeah, it's a great event put on by a great group. Shout out SEADH. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you guys, and thank you, Marcus, for hosting us at your shop. All right. Well, Atlas, thank you for telling me about your tournament experience.
My pleasure. I was really happy to hear that yours went so well.
Yeah, and for those listening, we definitely did this at the announcements, but we'll do here at the end. That the day that this is coming out, the Thursday that this is coming out, 2 days from now, Saturday, the 17th, is Gabby's Olympic Cards and Comics first event of the year. That's the home store. So if you have the availability to come on down and see us, we will be there. We will be jamming.
Heck yeah, we played in that tournament, and there's some really cool prizes on the line. They got a brand new play mat, Sathas's Oracle mat. Art's gorgeous.
Fantastic art.
Yeah, so come on down, come play with us. Hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Absolutely. If we don't see you there, we'll catch you next time.